saying he cannot actually be doing this because of the optics. We have a case in regard to the Azimio protest in Mandamano where people had died, and yet Karim Khan is here. Now that he has recused himself, is it a sort of a relief to you?
Well, recusal is expected of him because he's been the lawyer for William Samoei Ruto in the ICC before, and that creates what you call conflict of interest. So it is common for a lawyer to recuse himself, but when you recuse yourself when you are the prosecutor, it means a Kenyan case. Then if any, it means a Kenyan case must have a new prosecutor or another person appointed as prosecutor in this matter should the complaint in Kenya against what has happened so far. And I really want to say there are high thresholds, and I'm happy Honorable Mugatana is a lawyer and a good one. There's a high threshold of a case you can really make against some of the actions which has taken place in the past or likely to happen in future. Demonstrations, if you don't interfere with them and you don't kill anybody, they will go on very peacefully. So I want to say that Azimio has been conducting peaceful demonstrations, but unfortunately they are disrupted by the government through the police, and deaths, of course. And in fact, for all the people who have died so far, we need case by case, to have inquest, each single case, as to how that person got injured and died or was killed, by who, where. And Kenyans who have witnessed these things need to come forth and give statements. And we have an inquiry. Those inquiries are conducted by magistrates in that particular locality, like in Makueni, it was in Emali. There was another incident in Makueni town, and the incidences in Mulolongo can be conducted by the courts near Mulolongo. There are courts in Athi River. So that the magistrate prepares a documentary as to how this single person died. And whoever is being suspected, they can either be charged with murder or manslaughter. Because what has happened is that has happened. And what every single policeman should know who is carrying a weapon. If you use the gun and somebody's life is lost, there are only two ways. You are either guilty of manslaughter, and in the case of Kisumu, where after 2 days, certain policemen went into homes of suspects and thrashed them out and then killed them. It means they had enough time to premeditate murder. And for that, I believe those ones should be charged with murder. Not a single police officer whose life has been lost in his hands should go and prosecuted in this particular matter. And should the matter escalate, because I don't see much from the talks. We are very clear that we don't want to share government. That has been the song with some politicians. We don't want to share government. Our message is very clear. You need to lower the cost of living. And if you are going to lower the cost of living, it means the finance bill must be opened up. I know it's before the courts. I'm one of the lawyers in the court representing petitioner number 7. From the look of things, to me, the judiciary has been threatened. Their personal security. And the moment your personal security is threatened, then it means the decisions you make from court, they are preconditioned because you are fearful of your own personal existence as a judge.
But where do you get that from?
Well, I've said the impression created so far.
It's an impression.
You can read the mood of a judge. You can read the demeanor of a judge. You can see a threatened judge.
No, you can't.
Whose personal existence is threatened by the government, and therefore they must do everything to make the government happy.
So what do you think about the determination yesterday on the housing levy by the court?
Well,
you think also they were under impression, or the gesture would have given way to suggest that
the Law Society made a good case.
The government is overbearing on them?
The Law Society made a good case, but what I also picked from the judges, because the matters are proceeding mid next month, Actually, the judges are wishing that we could end the matter in a day, make all submissions, all preparations in a day, and I believe they will not take long before making a decision, such that although the government has gone to apply an act retrospectively, you know, you are being fined we are going to be fined or taxed because it's or levied on something which there was a stop by the court. They have decided to go back to the beginning of July. The question was, if you go back to July, then it means if somebody was paying salaries and it's a company, they did not deduct the 1.5% from the employer and the 1.5% from you. And it means the salaries of July were already paid. So where are you going to get another salary now to pay this act which is being applied backwards?
Let's hear from...
So I believe the courts will do their best. We have still a right of appeal and even a right to go to Supreme Court.
Right.
What I know is once the Court of Appeal has determined as it has determined, and that's where the rain started beating Kenyans, then it means you cannot even appeal under 52B. You can't go to Supreme Court on that particular matter. It means then Kenyans have to bear and wait what this constitutional court will say. And once the constitutional court says that there are no interim orders, then it makes a determination. It means an appeal will still lie. I don't see much hope as a lawyer from courts by reading the demeanor of the judges and the mood of the judges and the mood of the country. The hope of Kenyans is them to redeem themselves in the next election, and their voice to speak, or their right to picket or demonstrate.
All right, let me just see
cannot be stopped.
Pick up also the thoughts of Danson Mungatana on this. Is it an exception on this, that the law can be applied retrogressively?
I think it's a matter of interpretation.